Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Common Ground webinar series, Season 3. I am Kamudam Shetty from Hyderabad, and I have along with me Kaushik Srinivasan from Chennai, and we shall be moderating the session today. As promised, this season is going to be all about you, providing value and insights on topics and themes that are most relevant to you. You last said that you wanted to interact with the Common Ground speakers and also network with some of the attendees. And hence, we have experimented with this new platform, the AirMeet, that will give you this flexibility. After today's speaker session and Q&A session, we shall move to the AirMeet lounge area where you can do exactly that, networking and connecting with the speakers as well as the other attendees. So after the session and Q&A session, do not log off, stay tuned. Also, like I said, please bear in mind, this is a new platform, and so there may be some teething issues, some transition issues. So kindly bear with us and let us know your feedback on your experience as well. All right, so let's get started. In the last session on 27th February, we had with us Mr. Subhrupal in conversation with Dr. Srinivasan on citizen development and how the low-code, no-code citizen revolution empowers teams to develop ideas into applications so organizations can work smarter, faster, and at reduced costs. We got some fantastic feedback for that session. As always, please keep it coming. In today's session, episode 2, we are in conversation with 3 industry veterans to discuss about the exciting times coming up in the project management community and for project management practitioners. And we'll also talk about the future of project management as a profession and more. Few housekeeping items. There is no speaker presentation today. We're only going to be in conversation. So if you do not see the slide deck while the conversation is happening, do not get worried. If you have any questions, please put them on the chat, on the questions tab on the right side of your screen. There's a question mark which says questions. Put your questions on that. You want to check out the details about the other attendees, you can see that also on the right side of your screen. There's a panel for attendees. And you also have a chat box in case you want to talk about something and share your comments. All right, so let me introduce to you our esteemed panelists today. We have with us Susmita Mukherjee, Delivery Head, BFS Sector, Tata Consultancy Services. With 36 years of experience in the IT industry, she has handled diverse delivery roles in various organizations. She's also an expert in risk management and quality management and a certified assessor for Tata Group of Companies, assessing against the Tata Business Excellence Model. Next, we have Umesh. Kaushik, do you want to give the introduction? Kaushik, we can't hear you.
Sorry, Monica, that was one of those teething issues that we talked about, toggling between the presentation screen and unmute. I hope I'm clear now.
Yes.
My privilege to welcome Umesh. Umesh is currently the faculty in the L&T Institute of Project Management in Baroda and has about 28 years of experience. Prior to moving into academia, Umesh has served multiple roles, including as the CEO for India operations at Biopharmax, multiple multinationals like Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, and now with multiple projects with L&T as well. He specializes in risk management and stakeholder engagement, and I'm very happy to have you here today, Umesh.
Thank you. We also have with us Vineet Kumar Chandra, Senior Project Quality Manager from Nokia. He has 21 years of industry experience and has played multiple roles over the years, managing projects and programs and so on. He is also lead PMP instructor at Nokia and has played an instrumental role in developing the project management competency framework along with PMI. I would like to thank all 3 of you for gracing the Common Ground session today with your presence. Thank you so much for joining us today. On behalf of all of us, the organizers and the attendees, I would like to extend a very warm welcome to you.
So today's discussion is going to be exactly that, a discussion, a panel where we get the views of all 3 of our esteemed guests And of course, the one important thing is they are also going to be answering a lot of questions from you. So keep those questions coming. So Monica, why don't you start off with this?
Absolutely. Quick check. I hope Susweta, Vineet, Umesh, I hope you can hear us, and I hope you can just try out your audio so we can hear you and reconfirm.
Yes.
Yeah, Monica, absolutely fine.
Perfect. Let's get started then. So I think the first question that needs to be answered is something which is on top of all project professionals. What's the future of project management as a profession, with all the technology disruptions being brought about, or the talk about AI, ML, cloud, automation, and all the good stuff? How can we stay relevant? Sushmita, would you like to address that?
Yeah, sure, Monica. Thanks. Technology keeps changing. Yes, daily the technology keeps changing, but that doesn't mean that the project manager's role is getting redundant. Not at all. So as we see, rather the project manager's responsibilities are increasing day by day with the changes in the environment. For instance, the expectation from customers are changing. The requirement, the enhancements of skills will have to be done by the project managers. The expectations are increasing. All the projects that are run by the business are basically driving the business value. So besides the standard measuring factors of a project, say schedule, cost, time, quality, etc. Nowadays, what's happening is business is also asking for what value it's giving. The business value measurement is very, very important for driving. So naturally, the responsibility of project manager increases. And I will mention one more interesting parameter. Earlier, we were talking about just meeting expectation of the customers. But as the days are going by, we are seeing that from meet expectations, it has moved to exceed expectations. And going forward, it has further gone beyond that, asking for great customer experience. So we are looking for great customer experience. Further going forward, it has changed to customer loyalty. We are trying to see what is the NPS that they are giving, Net Promoter Score, so that we can get more business. And from there onwards, where we stand now is care. Care means it's mutual well-being, not only thinking about our own business, but also thinking about customers' business. So helping customer in their journey as a leadership partner or strategic partner comes to the responsibility of, or comes as a on the shoulder of the project manager. So project manager is becoming more and more important in playing the role of executing the project successfully. I think anybody else, Vineet, if you want to touch upon how it's happening in our industry.
Smita, I think I agree with you. Smita, the thing is, what you're talking about is exceed expectation of the customers, right? But this is current situation that what you're talking about, that okay, customer is expecting more and their expectation has increased. You have to delight the customer. But I would like to take everybody a little bit backward actually in the ancient area where we are saying that, you know, the project word as such or definition as such has not come into picture. It has come into 1950s or so. You know, people start talking about project and all. But before that, projects were happening, right? If you talk about pyramids or Great Wall of China and all this, and these were projects which were happening for years. And that period of time also there was a technology, and the people were talking about something different, something which is futuristic. And that era was talking about, okay, we will solve those problems, we'll go in next generations kind of a thing. So every generation, for matter, has started evolving and solving the problems of that generation. So it is nothing new at this point of time also. We are talking about this AI and virtual realities and machine learning and those. So those things also will be this generation's problems and these generation's things. In generation is going to evolve something different. Manager's role is actually becoming very exciting, I would say. Why I'm saying exciting is, see, today we are talking about digitalizations and integration of all these things together. Who is going to do that actually? The manager is responsibility to do that, bring this all together, and that is how all these evolutions are happening. You know, if you see we are going on moon and then Mars expeditions and all those things. This is actually this is futuristic, right? And that is what the project management field is doing it. So I would say that project management, this question that what will happen to me and what will happen to project managers and project management, I think this will, the future will be bright, I would say, because this is something new, something exciting going to come up. So I think nobody has to worry about that. Okay, this is coming, so I should be going. This is happening. Even we are saying that okay, industry 1.0, 1.2.0, 4.0. Even when you are asking the same question in industry 1.0, it is the same thing, and we were discussing the same issues, right?
Yes.
I think it is interesting. What do you think, Vinit?
I really agree, but Umesh, you have taken generations back. I am experiencing the evolution of project manager in current generation, which I am experiencing. I joined as a project manager in 2004, and since then, the way project managers have been looked into, and they have evolved due to the technology changes which are happening, the development methodologies which are evolving. Earlier in 5 to 10 years, now it is every second year or maybe every year it is changing. We have experienced Scrum, we have Scrum, experiencing DevOps, and maybe something new will come. The question is very relevant. People will always tend to think whether the bots will take over project managers, and my answer is no, because project manager need is to be humans on the team, not the bots on the team. And those are the humans which connect with others with the skills that they can't get from robot, right? The feelings like empathy, the fun part, strategic thinking part, the creativity, thoughtful about customer service. You have touched about the care part, the listening part. Do you think the bots will listen? No. So these are few relevant things which will always be there into the human console as a project manager. And maybe the technology will evolve, maybe the way development or the execution or the service industry involve. We do need two eyes to manage those projects. When I say project, which has a definite start and a definite end, and what else a project manager is needed for. This is the only basic thing which he is needed for. Maybe the learning curve will improve and need to be adapted. That's for sure. You cannot stay saying that I have learned something and I have to come out of it and I'll never evolve out of it. I'll not adapt to it. You may have to adopt, but this role is never going to vanish, because if you see the industry what we are having in India, I think so there is some expectations is that around 70 lakh professionals are needed in next 10 years in India alone, which is a growing economy. Forget about the world. So please make sure that nothing is going to change, but the thing is we have to change internally with enhancing our competence and skills to be more relevant to the changes in the industry.
Very true.
I think that's a Sushweta, I think you're on mute. Sushweta, I think you're on mute.
Yeah, but Vinit, what you touched upon is very relevant point about this people part, right? So when we are talking about these projects, and even in the construction site as well, people are saying that, okay, now robot is going to take over our job. So actually, it is not. I mean, people are required for every kind of a project, and unless and until we have people who has invented ultimately robots, right?
Yeah. So Umesh, another anecdote which people can connect is that analytical people will need to become more creative, and the creative people will need to become more analytical. That's what now a buzzword what we can think about when this project management expertise is rolling over decade to decade.
So Vinit, Umesh, one of the comments I think Sushweta made was about how project managers have to exceed expectations, and we already have our first question for the day is how does a project manager balance between exceeding expectations and goal plating? How will that be differentiated?
So see, goal plating nobody likes, because ultimately when you have an experience, when you are experiencing a project journey, and every project journey is different from what you have done in the previous experience, right? Or your previous close project. You never can sustain with the goal plating. The only thing which I feel is you have to keep on looking into the organization's objectives. You have to see how imperative is your upskilling need for your career progression, taking into multiple programs, which organizations are also evolving, because you are seeing cloud, Internet of Things, 5G is coming in a base, so lot of automation and so on. So the new trend which is coming out in the upskilling part is more on the digital project manager. Demand is growing up for the analytical and creative thinking. Change is constant, and you should increase the speed of delivering things. You should evolve from good to great. When you are saying that you are managing the team and deliverer, you have to take a next step to lead the team and drive deliverables, and then the next step will be inspire the team and become like mentor, so that you can address the dynamic customer environment. And these are few things which the organization which I'm working is adapting very well, because the organization like Nokia, what we have have multiple visions of project managers. There are project managers who are directly interacting with the customers. We call them general project managers, who are part of GPMO teams. We have project managers who are supporting the services arm, the projects which comes from the customers to lot of migration and adaptation products. We have the R&D where we have the different way of upskilling needed. So every project manager who is working in the current environment in Nokia have been sliced into operational, tactical, and strategic project managers. And we have various programs and internal certifications which we are working internally to make sure that they are at par with the industry and the expectation of the customer, which is the paramount importance, because any project starts with customer and ends with customer. And to upskill these kind of development methodologies, the way addressing customer issues, customer requirements, you have to train them in their respective domains and technologies. You have to upskill them with the latest tools which help them in managing the project and reporting the project in a better way, either to your internal stakeholders or to the customers.
So I think that's a fantastic thing. You kind of went one step ahead of, probably read our minds.
Yeah.
So quick summary, project managers are here to stay. The bots are not going to replace us.
No.
But we have to be a little bit more adaptive to sustain ourselves. You already, Vineet, mentioned about how Nokia has adapted the project management world and sliced them into different specialities. And I'm sure that comes with a lot of learning. Maybe Umesh, you might want to just step into that, saying, if we are going to be relevant, how do we stay relevant, right? We are needed, project managers are needed, but how do we stay relevant? What kind of skills, earnings are required? What is your perspective from an academia? And maybe we'll also, after that, find out from Sushweta what they do in TCS specifically, and Vineet, you can wrap it up in the end for us.
Yeah, Kaushik. So I would like to answer this in different levels, actually. So let's understand as an individual what I can do, how I can be relevant. And I'll take one example. I mean, few days back, I'm a risk management student. So I teach risk management, but at the same time, keep on learning. So a few days back, actually, I attended a webinar, and that was the ex-president of American Association of Cost Engineering. So my colleague was asking that what is there in cost engineering and risk management, why you are attending this webinar. So I'm interested what he was talking about, portfolio risk management. And I attended, and I had some different opinions with that person. And I connected that to that person through LinkedIn, and that person responded, and I started having debates with him, and then ultimately we agree upon something. Point here is that if I wanted to get something, I wanted to be relevant, I wanted to learn something. Nowadays, thanks to pandemic, that we know that there are so many online avenues are available free of charge. Anybody in the world we can connect easily. So that we can explore, and everybody should explore. We should not be saying that I'm locked down in a room and that's why I can't do anything. That is no more there. At organization level, I'll take an example of L&T. So L&T, as everybody knows, there are different kinds of businesses. So it is defense or finance or technology or there are so many businesses. But can the project management remain the same in every industry? The same thing for which is going to work for defense. It's not going to work for technology industry. It is not going to work for the buildings and towers which we are creating. So there has to be tailoring, there has to be customization. So at the organization level also that has to be tweaked into business. So that has to be remain relevant. As far as my institute where I'm a faculty, our tagline is like stay relevant, stay connected, and stay ahead. That is our tagline. So if that is there, then we have to ensure that everybody who is coming to learn about project management, that they are getting something new, something extra, something different. So then we are doing this association with IIMs, IITs, and foreign universities we are calling experts. So like, for example, the project directors who has been involved in doing the Statue of Unity, we call them and have a conclave, and we have this with them. We ask them, some of the people who are actually right now executing those projects, and then share their experience with the students. So that is what is more relevant, and that is what is how people can say that, okay, this is what has happened. This was a good thing. This is what we didn't do good. This was the problem we faced. This is the success we achieved, and because of these reasons. And that is how people can be relevant. The organization can share that experience to others. At different levels, everybody can be do that and keep on excelling further. Sushmita, I think you are saying something. Yeah.
No, Sushmita, I think your audio is not flowing through. We are able to see that you're saying something, but the suspense is killing us.
Yeah, till the time Sushmita answers that question, actually, I wanted to touch upon what you told Vineet about this gold plating, and Kaushik asked this question about action. I think we should be aware of that jargon. When we're saying gold plating, and then people say that gold plating means we should not be doing it. But it has to be, I would not say I would not recommend that gold plating has to be done. But that is a contractual term. That is, we have a scope of work. That is losing our money on that part. But when we are saying concept, it is a skill part. When you're exceeding expectation of somebody, I'm talking to you and you like my talking. That is what that interpersonal skill is developing, and that is what everybody has to do with the client and vendors and suppliers and team members.
Yeah, a very good example which Umesh, you have touched base is when I'm saying gold plating, I'm saying from the individual perspective. You can also understand from Nokia, where we have customer project managers, and we have a mandate that all the project managers should speak in the same language. And what we have done is that we have ensured as a foundational course, these project managers should be PMP first. So if they are PMP, they will know the terminology to be used, and they will at least try to speak. Doesn't matter in the East Coast or West Coast of US or the Europe or Asia or China, they will speak the same language with the customers. There are obligations with respect to the contractual part also. So these things you can consider as a gold plating, but from the individual career progression, you have to adapt. So internal to the Nokia, we have multiple programs with multiple level of project managers, which have to, embrace those programs based on their experience, based on the nature of job they are doing. We have internal certifications which were created for them, so that once they take first step, their value proposition increases. So Nokia stands on 4 values: respect, achievement, challenge, and renewal. Renewal is the most important aspect where we put this into the aspect of learning. So you have to keep on renewing. As you have said that you have invited project managers from Statue of Unity to give the perspective. That's how internal learning curve also increases when you share your learn, when you're standing on your stand-up meeting on a daily basis or weekly updates you are giving to management, and you keep on updating the lesson learned part. Everything is an input to your career progression or how effectively you are managing the project.
So that's a great point. One of our participants makes a very interesting comment. He says that Vidhu says that project managers become like HDMI interfaces, interfacing humans with technology. And on a related note, Jignesh wants to know, with so much disruption happening around us and so much talk of skills that you both mentioned, are there any specific technological skills that project managers must be aware of? Anything that's mandated? What's good to have, specifically from a technology perspective?
Umesh, you'll take it.
Yeah, technology perspective. I mean, I will talk from the construction industry or the mega projects and bigger size of project or site executions. Where see when project manager is coming, and see there are different kinds of the names or designations are there: project manager, construction manager, site manager. And then people get confused that, okay, I'm a project manager. Am I supposed to work only in offshore and doing the planning and scheduling part? I'm a site manager. I should be at site. Construction manager, I'm doing only on the construction part. So when we are saying the technology part of it, so whether I should be in between, as you're saying that HDMI, whether connecting robots with people, I think we should be doing this very cautiously, saying that I'll give an example. that when we're talking about something happen at the site, how the person at the real time can give that data to Backshore office and saying that, okay, this is the problem I'm facing. I'm not able to install that. The project managers are not available.
Okay, Umesh, we lost you for a few seconds.
Yeah, so I'm saying, am I audible now?
Yes.
Yeah, so with that real-time kind of problem solving, if we can help that person who is the site engineer, junior engineer at the site, then it will be helpful for me. Otherwise, he is waiting for the solution to come from somewhere, from his manager or vendor or supplier or any expert or SME. That time is lost, and that is what we are expecting when we are connecting between the people, the technology, and the site and the offshore and everybody. So if anybody wants to get into it, what kind of a thing he has to do, and he has to excel into it, then it is better that that person understand, okay, how I can connect that remote locations, remote people with the people who are expert into different areas and different things, so they can the problems can be solved in real time.
Oh, full. Let's just take a quick check to see whether Sushmita is back online with us. Sushmita, would you like to share what your thoughts on this whole skilling journey that people have to undertake? Sushmita, you seem to be on mute still.
Yeah, we can't hear him.
Yeah.
No. Sushmita, we are not still able to hear you. Roger, would you mind connecting with her offline, please, to see what's the... So again, just as we give Sushmita a minute to join back, the summary so far seems to be project management is relevant. Skilling has to be done constantly for us to stay relevant. Skilling happens in multiple levels in terms of personal growth and what the organization wants of us. But as an individual, we own the skilling options, and whether it's technology or project management skills, we adapt ourselves to the domains that domain-specific knowledge is very critical as we go along the journey.
I want to add, Kaushik, one more point. Like somebody has said that, how you can adopt the technology. I can consider that question very relevant, because when you're working in any organization, the first focus for you is to meet the project objectives, right? Scope, cost, schedule, and that makes you managing the team and the deliverables. Then the next step, what you have to think about is what your business group objectives are. If there are multiple business units or business groups within your organization, what do they think about the project objectives from their perspective? Then you should start realizing that it is not about only my project, but as a whole, a slice of the organization, what this part of organization thinks about. And then you can take a next step thinking about what as an organization Nokia thinks about. In my case, with respect to the strategy and the business and where I can fit in future. That makes you inspired. That makes you, in the thought process where you will think about like what can be the traits which I am having based on the, your appraisal feedback from your, supervisor or your colleagues thinks about it. Practically think about and take the next. So like in our case, 5G is the big buzzword, and everybody thinks about that across globe. So what as an employee we should think about, whether I'm working on a 5G related product or not, or project or not, we should be having that thought process on technology evolution. If we are not, sometime down the line, if my progression demands to reach to a project where 5G is the core of development, you will fall aside. Similar way, the tools which you are using, the automation, if you are from the customer perspective, think about the scope management, the contract management. If you're climbing the bars, you can think about how you can be accountable for your activities, the leadership skills, the authority, and so on. So there are multiple things which you can correlate, technology point of view and non-technology point of view, the soft skill part.
Thanks, Vineet. And you touched upon an interesting point about inspiration and future progression. I think we would love to hear about the individual journey, the key things that you as a leader planned for career progression. Maybe, Umesh, would you like to add on to that?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I would say, and I keep on saying this actually to everybody, that when you're saying this career progression, and it's a big word actually. So when you're saying career progression, and then people get afraid of that. Okay, you're talking about career, you're talking about profession, and I'm confused about that. I think it is, if you keep it as simple as that, focus on something what you are actually are, and you are to love to do it, and identify yourself that, okay, what do I want to do? Whether I should be jack of all, or I should be master of something, and go deeper into it and try to understand more into it in that specific area. And you will find every kind of a person. As far as, if you ask me my progression, career progression individually, what I came to this level, or going forward I'll be going somewhere else. I never thought about going into deeper thing and doing some mastery in particular area. I right from the beginning I was thinking that, okay, I should be knowing everything. Not everything in that every field of it, but in the project management area. So whatever I've done in last maybe 20 years is project management. I wanted to learn more about project management, whether how the small projects have been done, big projects has been done, how the EPC project has been done, how technology projects has been done, how engineering project has been done. Okay, how projects have been done from the owner's side, how it is done from the contractor side, how it is done from the service industry side, technology side. That is what keep me going, and that is how I keep my. And when you are doing something you like, I think the progression is going to happen anyway. So my suggestion, everybody who is asking me as a project how you do it and what is your advice for me, I would say that you do what you think that it is right for you, and you don't copy paste somebody else. That's okay, this person has done this thing and progressed and making money out of it. Then I think you cannot compare. You cannot compare with somebody who is already millionaire or billionaire for that matter. You probably may not be reaching there. I'm not saying you should not, but then at the same time you enjoy whatever you're doing it, right? So that's what I did, and for my career progression.
That's interesting. Thank you, Umesh. I see Susmita back. Susmita, can you hear us? Are you able to speak?
Yeah, I can hear you all. Are you able to hear me?
Perfect. We can hear you very well now, Susmita.
Yes, thanks.
Glad to hear you. So, right, while you went off, we were right now talking about the career progression and asking about, trying to understand what were the key things as an individual for your career progression that would have been planned for you, by you.
Okay. I think as an individual, even I have done the same, taking up challenges. That is one thing. And with the project management skills and awareness about the project management certification, having that certification gives immense confidence that be able to manage any project anytime. And obviously no two projects will ever be same. So there'll be challenges, there'll be new difficulties that one will face, new kind of stakeholder management will come in, new risks that will come in. So taking up that challenge will definitely is one of the key for any project manager, and for which a person has to continuously learn. So something like if a person can do, I don't know if it's feasible always, that if you can keep aside at least 30 minutes of your time per day on your own learning either on the business or on the processes or on the regarding the customer, because ultimately at the end of it's always customer focus comes in first, right? These days, anything that you are doing, any project that you are deriving, you are with the customer aligned and helping them to achieve their end state, whatever they have in mind. So I feel I have also done the same, taken up challenges to move out from one kind of role, and I moved into the risk and compliance area, which was absolutely new at that time. From the normal delivery role that IT industry has, generally running the projects, ensuring the timeliness, delivery, technology, ensuring the technology platform is perfect, etc. So moving into this risk and compliance was a change from my normal role, which I could take up, and it has been streamlined pretty well and steadily running for last 4 years. So that was a big step that I could take.
An interesting perspective.
Another thing, it helps always to participate in strategic discussions, strategic forums. Networking comes in very handy, because the more you network, the more you understand what the organization perspectives are or organization directions are. Similarly, how the industry is moving towards, and all these learning definitely is important in your improvement or in your career progression as well.
Thank you, Susmita. Completely agree with what that. Vineet, what is your take on it?
My take. Actually, I never planned to become to enter the IT industry. I want to become a doctor. So I did my graduation in science, biology, chemistry, and waited to crack the exams, but I never became MBBS entrant. I got BDS and so on, but never MBBS. Then I thought, what should I do with my career? I did MBA. And very luckily in 97, 98, ours was the very first in India which has done MBA in systems. But it came in the third semester. Interestingly, I have already done my summer projects with Amul as a marketing dual degree with HR. And then NTPC as HR. Then they said, no, we have a new, subject. You want to go through a new stream. Systems is there. I entered the systems. I did a summer project with a company based out of Chennai. And then and there, they offered me a job. Luckily, I was the first management graduate in that organization. So when I joined the organization, they know where to place me. They said, okay, 1 year you should be in Circle. Like whatever you like, we will put you there. So I was a part of, development. I did write test cases, did the testing. I was in the, HR writing processes. Then quality. Finally, I thought quality is the good thing and they want to go for the ISO certifications and BS 7799. So I was trained with, certification as a lead auditor for those assessments and certifications, CMMI level 3. After a couple of years, my India had created a PMO office and he said, why don't you join the PMO team as a project coordinator? And that was the first career change within the same organization. I moved from quality organization after getting the certifications and assessments done. I moved into project management. And that's where my journey in the project management starts. So first 3 years as quality, then the next 4 years as project management guy, cracked the PMP in 2007. And then I thought that let me enter a rather big organization where I can explore my capabilities and competencies. And I joined Alcatel-Lucent, which is now Nokia. And I was part of, quality team from day one. They were looking for CMMI level 5 and, other certifications. And then during the journey, I was part of procurement management, part of lab management. I was technical project manager. Right now, I'm part of a global quality team for fixed network and leading a big, product team, which is, used by 120 plus service providers, the fiber or copper network, which comes into your home. We are number 1 in the world. But my passion towards project management never dies. So I started engaging with my project management colleagues, the GPMO teams, started giving training on the PMP certifications, engaging very closely with PMI India from 2011, giving a lot of trainings. It is all side business within the organization out of my passion. And my boss always get confused. What this guy up to? Will he leave me next year? Or will he be still quality department? I said, don't worry, till I'm fed up with quality, I'm not going to leave you. And I'm always part of quality as well as project management and supporting the organization. It was a tremendous journey, a mix of quality and project management in 21 years, and I have no regret. 10 challenges have come in the middle, and then we have to step it up and ensure that your passion towards certain topic like project management never dies up.
Thank you, Vineet. I think a lot of us are very happy, especially even in Nokia, that you didn't get into MBBS. Good thing sometimes. So there's a question which came up from Vijay, and he asks, from a progression perspective, do project managers need to understand program and portfolio management? And if yes, to what extent? Susmita, would you want to answer that?
Okay. Project management skill has to be constantly upgraded. But I wouldn't say that you have to always be a program manager and get certification as a program management straight away. But yes, that will definitely. But with your day-to-day activities as a project manager and learning and coping with or networking with other project management professionals will definitely help you to increase your skills in the project management field. I hope that answers the question.
So I would like to add into it, Susmita. When we're talking about these projects and programs and portfolios, I think a simple rule which people can think about it if they are not wanted to get complicated or complex or confused. When you're talking about a project, just focus on the delivery part of it. When you're talking about programs, think about what outcome is entire all projects are going to give you. And when you're talking about portfolio, think of value proposition, what we are going to give. As simple as that. If you're keeping that simple, then probably you will figure it out whether I should be doing program management or project management or portfolio.
I think it's a little hazy these days, the outline that you're talking about. It's a person is working as a project manager, he definitely steps into a part of program management as well and portfolio management as well. May not be in a specialized way as such, but definitely looks into some part program management truly.
Sure. Yeah.
And if I want to add something, is program management and portfolio management are not for the people who are just entered as a project managers. You have to think the business in which your organization is, the kind of cluster of the projects which are under any program, and if there is a scope, you can think about the program management after 8 to 10 years of experience as a project manager. And PGMP is a good certification to go for if you are at that level.
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, these have been fascinating perspectives, but one thing remains at the back of mind for everybody as we post 2020, right? These are all great pointers to plan your career, to keep adapting. But what happens when things don't go to a plan, right? One of the, I think, biggest things that have come about in 2020 is the word resilience. What is the mindset, or how does one build resilience? And along with resilience, I think is a question of adaptability to changing external environment, right? From your experiences, how do people adapt? What are the biggest things that you can tell a person in terms of reacting to things that are outside of their control?
Can I pitch in here?
Yes, please.
Can I? Yeah. Okay. So I will say, see, project, whenever the way industry is going or industries are going, there are constant changes that keep happening. Disruptions do happen. And we talked about it earlier also, that it's not something that has happened now for the first time. In a smaller way, larger way, or in a medium way, the changes keeps happening. Disruptions do keep continuously happen while you are executing the project. So one has to be resilient. One has to stay steady, stay calm to handle the situation. No point running away from the situation to escape. Because wherever you go as a project manager, there will be challenges coming up. So you cannot just avoid it. So we have to, as a project manager, learn how to handle these long-term coping capabilities, how to develop the long-term coping capabilities. One would be, I would say, I will talk about 3 aspects of it. One is personality development. One should remain calm and steady to handle the situation to the best of the capability and best of the resources that are available at that point. Second is develop network for support. I'm not only talking about organization support. Yes, organization support is in very important role, plays a very important role. But parallelly, even family support is important for that matter. And the third is anticipate the setbacks. So say, let's talk about the pandemic that happened recently, right? The COVID-19 situation, where all the offices had to shut down immediately with shortest possible notice. So one should not have the organizations, no organizations in fact stayed saying that, okay, let people be at home and will not work till the pandemic gets over. Nobody did that. They all planned their way how to cope up with the pandemic situation, how to work with it, how to handle the situation to the best of their capabilities, and went ahead. So stay on despite difficult situations and anticipate what setback that can happen and take prompt action. That is what we have to plan and do and stay resilient. That is what I would say. Say with respect to Tata Consultancy Services, I will say with respect to TCS, see, we had always been focusing on digitizing the projects, okay, like digital, go digital. But I would say this pandemic accelerated the push to be highly digital. Okay, so that actually helped the projects to go more digital. Then aligning with the customer. We had to align with the customer because customers, with the pandemic situation, they also got into some disruption and they didn't know how to handle their crisis situation. So we had to reset our alignment. We had to align us, the organization or the projects aligned to the customer needs. That had to be done in a very quick manner. So that is what is resilient. So I think that answers how to remain resilient.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So Umesh, would you like to add your 2 cents to that?
Yeah, actually, I would put it differently rather, and what Sushmita is saying, I completely agree with it. But then, when we are talking about resilience, when we're talking about something like pandemic or something like situations which are coming up, and then we don't know what to do and how to proceed further, I think we should be thinking about the natural principles which are there into existence. Think about it. We should not be making it over complicated. What I mean by that is that we know that as a naturally that water flows from top level to lower level. This is a principle nobody can change. I mean, we should not go and break our head against a rock and saying that I wanted to move this rock. You take a turn around and move ahead. There will be twists and turns everywhere. If you're saying that my journey will be straightforward, I want to reach here and I should not be having any obstacles in between, that is not going to happen. You have to take and move ahead from that perspective. I like the journey what Vineet has told, his life journey. This is an exactly example of it. Whenever it comes that he has taken diversion and move ahead, which is excellent example Vineet has shown in his life journey actually. And I don't know why friends are joining here, but then I give a simple example, to understand this, that if what is important, whether the outcome or the process we are going to reach is important, or how we are going to reach there is important. The process of reach or journey is important, or the where you are going to reach that goal is important. To some extent, both are important, of course. From that perspective, it is important. But to give a funny example, not related to any project management, to understand this concept of resilience and understand that what people are facing the problem is. If somebody wants to become a millionaire and wanted to make a lot of money or crorepati and all those things, what are the options he has? So he can go and marry a daughter of a gangster, for that matter, right, and make $1 million. Or he can have an investment strategy and learn about it. Or he can just rob a bank. There are so many options available. What journey is choosing, it depends upon that where he wants to reach. And then ultimately, only goal is not important. The journey also is important. Right, so that is what we should keep it in mind. Keep it simple, and that will guide you appropriately in your direction. That's what I suggest to you.
I think every married man thinks of their father-in-law as a gangster in some way or the other, Ramesh. So, linear or not. But Vineet, would you like to just take a quick wrap at resilience and what you think is important in terms of mindset for it?
Yeah, so resilience is not a very simple word to understand. That's what for sure. People have their own.
Otherwise, we wouldn't be in these questions.
Correct. So everybody has their own interpretation of resilience. One thing which you have to think is from your internal perspective, how you will be resilient to adapt change. Then you have to think about from the team or as a career. With the team which you are working for the organization perspective, what can be the ideology of resilience or definition of a resilience, it can change. We have seen an excellent example of this particular true aspect of resilience in the way we were working. The pandemic impacted complete shutdown exactly maybe a year before in India, and we had a huge development team and testing team and the central testing lab in Chennai. We don't have people to do the test setups, final test setups. And somehow, as we were having some remote capabilities, people never gave up. They, work an extra mile to make sure that the release, which we have every quarter, has gone on time. The very first week of the down. That shows the character of 1,100 people working on my project, which I was working along with them. Without impacting that is one kind of resilience. Second kind of resilience is from the individual perspective, how you want to see yourself in future, how you want to project yourself in future. You have to take chances, and the best thing is risk. even with your project or without, as an individual, you should learn how to take risk, and risk will always involve high stakes, right? It can be a negative or a positive, but you will learn out of that journey of risk management, whether with your personal journey or whether with your team. And you always need people who can support in this journey. If are having a very good company with you, a very good mentor with you from the personal development in life or in the organization, you will not find much of an obstacle, because they will in each step hand you in your next step in a career progression. And that's how I feel being resilience means, and that's how I have been helped out with my bosses, supervisors, who are still allowing me to support and work in project management, where my primary activity quality management. Think about it. This is what you can break the barrier of resilience, where bosses are happy that you are doing an extra mile for an organization. People reach out. I'm also kind of one of the expert in risk management, and a very did upskilling exercise right now we are doing in R&D for the risk upskilling, and I'm happy to be part of that journey, even though I'm not the direct stakeholder. So these things will bring laurels to your career, as well as you'll feel very proud of it, that you tried it, your capability of resilience, being resilient, and you have achieved it. So never shy of giving a try. If you're shy of giving a try, you will not taste success or failure.
I think that's a great way to round it off. I think we've also done a great job in terms of covering the questions as they've come. A lot of engagement, as you could see from the people. Just before we wrap up, if I can ask you all maybe a quick 1-2 line summary of what you would want the participants to take from today's session, from each of your perspectives. Maybe just a moral of the story kind of a thought from each of you. Vineet, would you like to get us started on this one?
Passion. Be passionate about what you are doing. Never give up. Take always help and support from your colleagues, from your supervisors. Be open to them. They will definitely be helping you out. Very important aspect what Susmita has brought in, family. I still remember my journey of PMP preparation, where I would lock myself on a weekend, and I used to tell my wife, sorry, I will make up once I become a PMP. So all these kind of challenges which will come during your next know-how or learning curve which you are planning to take up, please bring your family and friends also to the picture, because their moral support is always needed, even though you have thinking about the career progression in your organization or outside organization. So be passionate about the job what you are doing.
Umesh, apart from gangster father-in-laws for support, what else do we need?
No, actually I have become a gangster father for my kids now, and that is what I want to take a contrary opinion what Susmita, and nothing wrong with you, Vineet and Susmita, we are from south side. But yeah, there are people who are actually behind us. Forget about the digitalization, forget about this monitor, laptop and all these things. Tell us when you are asking us to go on site and start working. We are fed up of all these things. So that kind of things also there in the industry. People who are actually working. And you're talking about family. I'll give you my example. That last 15 years I was just traveling, and then now they are seeing me every day, right? In front of them, they're saying, "When are you going out?" So that kind of thing. Don't take it for granted that everything will be same. This is happening to me, happening to you, and everybody in this world, right? So.
Brilliant. And Susmita, would you just top it off, top it all for us?
Sure. I will ask people to take up challenges. Without challenge, you cannot proceed. So definitely people will have to take challenges, and only then you can taste success. And the second point I would like to harp on is always remember that you are not working alone. Anything cannot get executed alone by the project manager. So work as a team. So team building is very important. So these are the two aspects I will like to bring in here.
I think brilliant. That's a fantastic wrap for a very, very engaging discussion for the past hour. As you can see, a lot of reactions popping up on the screen, a lot of questions and comments on the chat. And I'd also like to add on behalf of everybody that one of the resources or one of the places that you could come to help on project management journey is PMI itself. Tons and tons of resources for you to leverage thousands and thousands of people that you can interact with in various forums, one of which is Common Ground. On that note, I'd like to formally thank all our three panelists today. Sushweta, thank you so much for making the time. Vineet, as usual, brilliant insights. Umesh, thank you for bringing in the academia perspective. This has been a fantastic session, and we hope we engage you in the future as well. As we move on, one question that we get in every session, apart from whether project management is relevant, it is relevant, and the PDU claim code to keep your certifications active. Just a quick note, just this will tells you that there are 8 different certification paths, and some that are not mentioned here, including the disciplined agile one. So you have a wide and a bright career ahead within the PMI world. You could use the PDU codes to claim.